welcome back to the world of Viridia. This is Stable Loop talking, and Viridia is our long-term Minecraft world where we are trying to make a fully self-sustaining and as automated as possible world, as much as we can. So that's the broad goal of the series. But obviously we have to break that down into smaller chunks because that's a lofty thing. So tonight we do have one particular goal, and that is let me see if I can catch it in a window here. Okay, well, kinda. Let's do the balcony instead. Bamboo's in the way, but the tower behind is our wheat tower. And we want it to be fully automatic. Harvesting up top, sorting, crafting those materials into other things, and filtering them down to the bottommost level. Breeding villagers, we've already set that up. But automating that process as well, and then yeah, filtering down what we don't use for this into basically storage silos that go down to the bottom, where we can access the resources for whatever we need. And trade with villagers and all of that fun stuff. So tonight we are taking at least one more step towards that. My like pie in the sky goal is to completely finish the automation for the wheat tower. However, automation is tricky, especially when you do it on camera. And so I'm going with a safe. I want to get the sorting system done and the silos for the two main products done. So we're going to have the silo for the wheat, which technically we actually already made, and then the silo for the seeds, which we will make tonight. It's part of the way in, but not all the way in, so we'll finish that. And then the automatic collection and sorting of those two products with the villager up top auto farming for us. So that's the goal for tonight. The first thing we really need to do is pop up here and put in our collection system. Right now it's just dirt, and I'm sure people wondered why we didn't bother to do like a slab roof or anything to fancy this up. And it's because we had this project in mind for later. So we need just a crap ton of hoppers. Okay, so we have a full stack of hoppers. First thing we're going to do is place this here and get that going into it. So now we can remove this. And we're just gonna go in a chain here. Need you pointed into this. So that part is important. You want to shift click, hold shift, and then click on the block you want it to point into. So that it basically just makes a big loop. So anything that falls in here will literally just go around in this loop forever until something pulls it out. That's a big part of the farm. We unfortunately have to destroy these. Makes me kind of sad. We'll have some alternative lighting to put in here temporarily. And then we gotta fill this in. Alright, and there we have it. This is completely set up at this point. And so now, anything that falls on the ground here, not trying to go down, will get filtered into any of these hoppers, pushed to the ring, and circulated in a giant ring around the edge of the ring. Now, we need to put in our item sorters, and this is where we start to have a little bit of fun, because we need our nether quartz. So last episode, at the very end, we did grab a couple dogs from a nearby forest. Don't have names for them yet still, So if you have any suggestions, drop that in the comments. Okay. Yes, there it is. Honestly, if I can get close to a full stack of bone meal, that should be plenty to do what we need to do, I believe. I know the die to wool ratio is 1-to-1. Unfortunately, it's not like glass, where one die produces 8 colored glass in one go. Okay, so let's get up here and craft our redstone components and set up our filters. So how to remember the shape there real quick. Okay, so comparator is going to go here on top of this block, redstone dust, and a repeater going into this block on 0 ticks with a redstone torch. There'll be a hopper here that pushes to the side. That will be where our wheat goes. And another hopper on top that is our actual filtering hopper. And we're going to need 21 items that aren't wheat. We'll probably name something we just have a bunch of as like filter items. And then 1 wheat in the very front. So I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. It is raining. So stream tradition fulfilled. It has to rain at least once every stream. So to do this, you shift click, or you shift the crouch, and then aim at the base of your comparator and right click. That has the hopper pointing into the comparator. That way it's not pushing down, it's trying to push sideways, and items will come down out of this because this one is pulling down rather than this one pushing down. If you do the pushing down, it doesn't work right. Alright, so now this topmost hopper is where you put your filter items. And the idea is there's only one eligible item that can go through here. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And this is for wheat, so wheat goes there. So this is locking the hopper below. And the hopper below this one is what pulls the items down. This one's trying to push sideways, but there's nowhere for it to go. So because it's trying to push sideways and this one is locked, these items are just going to stay here until you get another of this type of item. Because nothing's ever going to stack with these, that's why we named them. Once you get one more of these, that adjusts the signal strength of our comparator, which you can see is at 1 right now. It'll push it to a signal strength of 2. The repeater will be able to pull the power out of this block and push it into this block, which will turn off the torch, unlocking this hopper and allowing the one item to come down. And that's why it's important to put the items here, because hoppers always get pulled from the first slot first, and then this one and this one and this one and this one and so forth and so on. But once the one item pulls out, you'll just have the one, and the bottom hopper will lock again, and this will just stay right like it is. Okay, so that has our hoppers officially set and ready to go. Now, I need to do a little work and clear this spot so we can make the rest of this silo. Alright, to get up to where we need to be, we need a hopper and chest. 1, 2, 2, and a hopper. And maybe another chest, maybe another hopper. So 1, at least 2 of each, probably 3 of each. So we're okay. So now that we've slept, I just want to briefly summarize what we've managed to do so far. We've got these this massive field of hoppers just below our farmland where the wheat is planted up top. So these will collect all of the wheat and seeds that get harvested up top by the villager. Once we put the villager in, it forces everything into this ring around the edge, which just keeps looping it around until it gets picked up by one of our item filters, this one for seeds and this one for wheat. And those will sort those items into here and here currently, and now we're working on attaching these to our silos. This is for our wheat, and over here is going to be for our seeds. And we need to finish building this one, and it looks like we need about 3 of each thing yet, so we're going to go ahead and make those now. Okay, now we need to build the connections from here to here and factor in that we're going to need to do some trickery because we want to prioritize these resources first before we start crafting these into other things. So for example, with the seeds, we're going to have them filter into here, and then we want to prioritize them being stored in a silo so we don't craft seeds out of existence and never have them. We basically want to fill this to its capacity, and then once it can't push into here anymore, we then want to start filtering to other things. And there's a trick with the hoppers that lets us do that. So let's go ahead and set that up. So the first thing we want to have happen is a hopper going like this, and we can move the temporary block. So basically, this hopper is going to try, it's sort of the same trick that the filters use. We're going to try and push the seeds this direction. But, fun thing, hoppers pull down before they push to the side. So, in order to prioritize this, all we need to do is this. So, seeds will come in here, we'll get to this hopper, it'll try to push to the side, but that operation happens after a hopper below will pull the seeds down. So before it pushes to the side, this hopper pulls the seed down and then pushes them into the silo. And that is done and dusted. The last thing we want to do with this is put these on top of these 2 hoppers, because they're just connecting us to the silo, and we don't want any stray pieces or bits falling in there. And this actually tells the game engine to not even bother having these hoppers check above them for items to pull down, because this is a full block. And so it just makes this whole thing a touch more efficient. The thing that we're going to be pushing into is a composter with a hopper pointing into it, but we're going to get to that in just a second. So yeah, that is done and dusted, and with that being completed, we can go ahead and basically turn this farm on by putting a villager up top. Okay, so from here, I'll be able to take a villager in a boat on a lead up to the very top of the farm. Okay, so I should be able to break the boat. He should run over and claim the job block, and then we can make our escape. He's a farmer. Yep, he did a little farming already. But we're really just waiting to see if he'll do a little bit more. Hopefully. There's a lot of farming to be done. Alright, and this is all set. He is officially doing his farmery thing. So these are officially doing their thing. In order to do this part, we're going to need a composter and a couple more hoppers. There you go. You can see the filters doing their thing. As he harvests and items come down through, they flicker and go on and off. Go ahead and throw that in right here. And we'll need one of our hoppers pointed directly into the top of the composter. Okay, so now we have a composter, and we're going to want the stuff flowing this way. So we're going to put a hopper here. And then, like we've done before, we're going to do a downward pulling hopper, and it's going to push items into a new silo. So we do need to make the silo stuff for that. This is where bone meal is going to go. Okay. So now, basically, this system will feed into the seed silo back here until this hopper fills up. Or no, this hopper fills up, and it can no longer pull down. Once this hopper can no longer pull down, this one, the items that go into this one, since they're no longer being pulled down, will now push into here and go into the composter. Once the composter has enough levels to produce a bone meal, that bone meal will get sucked down into here, and it's going to want to push over this direction, but it has hopper pulling down first, which will feed that into the bone meal silo. And then this line will come down in this direction and feed into the autocrafter processes to make white dye and bone blocks. We're also going to have a line that comes down from the wheat side and kind of does the same sort of thing. It'll go along the top here. We don't have an extra process to go into like we do with the bone meal on this side. None of it's getting composted or anything like that. Instead, it'll go directly along a line here to a bread autocrafter and a hay bale autocrafter. But yeah, now we have this process done here, which is perfect. So we're automatically farming wheat right now, and we have seeds being automatically farmed. And once those are full, we'll start processing those into bone meal and automatically storing that right here. So that's actually a large portion of the tower's full automation done. I'm thinking we go ahead and make the silos for white dye, bone blocks, bread, and hay bales. But I need to see exactly how high I need to take those. Okay, so once again, it's the 15. So 8 hoppers and 7 chests. And we're going to do that 4 times. Yeah, for these automation projects that use a lot of hoppers, the thing people don't factor in is that as the wood usage for making all these hoppers, it's kind of nuts. Yeah, so if you didn't know, if you hold iron ingots in your hand and interact with an iron golem by right-clicking on him with those in your hand, it will actually repair him up to a certain amount. If he's really damaged, you might need more than one to fully repair. Hey, can you move for a second? I literally just need to put this right where you're standing. Oh, these villagers sometimes. I know his workstation's here, but like... Bruh. Okay, so for sure he won't be able to get through there. So now we'll go back up. and fill in these silos. Cool, so the other 4 silos are now in place, and like we said before, this one is going to be for dye, this one for bone blocks, this one for bread, and this one for hay bales. And now we move on to the auto crafting portion, and I'm actually going to focus on this side first. We're going to put a temporary block here and have this push in this direction. Now the reason we want to do that is because, like I said before, eventually when we want to feed this into an overflow system. So this will give us the opportunity to do just that. But until we need it, we're just going to remove this. So now we just make our line. Alright, and because we have this lower hopper, it's going to prioritize storing bone meal before it feeds bone meal down this line. But once the bone meal storage is full, and technically, yes, these hoppers count as part of the silo space, because it will fill up with bone meal until this is full, and then this will start pushing stuff this way instead of having it pulled down. I'm thinking let's make the crafting blocks that these wool are representing at the moment, and the 2 hoppers that feed into them. And then I should be able to do this. And yeah, it pushes into the hopper. Now we want to put the other crafter right here. Wonderful. Okay, now we need 2 more hoppers to feed into our crafters. And this one is just going to be the 1 space, because we need it to turn bone meal into dye. And that's just a 1-slot recipe. This one, on the other hand, is a 9-slot space. So let's go ahead and get the hoppers. So that'll go there. That'll go there. Alright, now we basically need to do the same kind of setup, but on the other side. Let's go put those in place right quick. I would like to get at least a couple villagers down here. And start getting them ready to trade wheat with. Alright, now once one of these guys pops in, I'm going to jump in the boat also, so we don't get a second one. That's what we screwed up last time, and how we ended up with the red villager just kind of chilling. The boat clips into that corner just enough to actually pull the villagers out if there's a water stream pushing them into the corner. You should fall through on top of the stairs. That's interesting. I didn't realize they took damage when they fell in a minecart. They don't do that when they fall in a boat. And that one's all set. So in this stream, started off by putting in all of these hoppers just below the wheat field, because it's farmland, not full block, and so they can pull items directly through. Standard auto farming with villagers trick. Those all feed into a ring that goes around the outside, and these filters pull items out of the ring. This one does wheat, the other one does seeds, and pushes those, prioritizes pushing those into their respective silos. This one for wheat, and this one over here for seeds. If those silos completely fill up, then the hopper priority changes because this is full up and no longer pulling down. This will start sending seeds into the composter to be turned into bone meal. And on this side, literally just starts sending the wheat down into a line for auto crafting, and we will show that down below. So the composter comes down with the bone meal, gets pulled down priority first to fill up this silo with bone meal, and then once that is full up, it starts sending it down to our auto crafters. Redstone to be concluded in the next stream. And then we'll have an overflow disposal system here and here. Should all of the silos be completely filled up. And then for the wheat side, any excess wheat that doesn't fit in the silo gets filtered down into here, feeds into the auto crafters for bread and hay bales. This one makes white dye from the bone meal and bone blocks from the bone meal. And of course we managed to get our villager up top so he could actually start auto farming for us. And that has been going very well. And then our final thing, besides putting in the silos for each product, which we did do that as well, was getting our first farmer villager down here who will buy wheat, which this tower produces, for emeralds. We have a lot of other uses for wheat right now, so probably won't be doing a lot of those trades, except maybe just get him to master level. But yeah, that's basically what we did on the stream today, and I'm pretty proud of the progress. I think we've got a lot done. It's doing its thing, it's working. The loop is stable. And so we're gonna let it run. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for dropping by. And until next time, you guys have a great night.